Wow, wow. I don't want vagina abs to stick. That sounds so awful.
Daddy, what's that?
Cyborg, I want to point out that you can't say the word wolf. You said night wolf before, and it's pissed me off ever since.
No beta code? I'm surprised.
Not bowing down to the con. That's a paddling.
Hey, Cyrax boy, guess what?
Who the fuck doesn't like Yoshi?
I don't like Yoshi.
What the fuck?
Yoshi.
How do we feel about Tremor? Because I gotta say this. I want to see him come.
Yes, but it's because I'm actually peeing in the bucket at the bottom of my seat. So, like,
Naitara's design.
You know,
the
you're
main
saying
thing has to
Naitara again.
Oh shit, thank
Just let go.
I'm on so many drugs at the moment.
Great. Glad to hear it.
Alright, well, I'm done being serious. We can talk about the taste of cock again. If that's what you guys want to.
Wait.
What?
This is my fucking ass hanging out. What, bitch?
Are we
Guys,
even
not
recording right
understand-
now?
We're not recording, of course not. Nobody's gonna listen to this.
I hear like the sound of like bullets being loaded into a chamber and like shots being fired.
Is it like an air gun? I don't.
I'm hearing like Russian roulette like right up next to the mic. What's going on? Yep. Definitely taking shots with a rifle.
Zatanna!
Alright, well, we're rolling.
Ow! God damn it, she stepped on the balls.
Tell us
Tennis
more.
balls?
We're rolling, right?
Step on the balls.
I do believe we're rolling, yes.
We are rolling. You can...
Welcome to the Nethercast. I am Cyborg. Ignore what you heard there before.
Don't ignore it. Step on the balls.
got
Way like
Razor, Chad, and temporary username with us as always. It's episode 70-something, or maybe
I think we're on
80.
78.
78.
Some sort of milestone. Remember that.
Oh.
Pretty sure it's 78.
All right. That sounds accurate to me. So how's everybody doing?
I have a head cold and I want to die. If it weren't for the fact that there's a new episode of Red Dwarf, fresh from the UK, that I just downloaded, I'd be in bed by now. Also, because I love you all, I guess.
Anybody see that new Blade Runner?
I'm
I
going
did.
tomorrow night. Going tomorrow night.
Pretty cool.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I've heard good things.
I enjoyed
Everyone
it.
says it's fucking wonderful. Yeah, it's
Well-
gonna take a shit and die at the box office, sadly.
Red Letter Media says it's better than the first one.
That's a bold claim. Also, which version of the first one? There are
Well,
like
that's-
6.
That's the thing. I don't think it matters to them. I don't think they're very big fans of the first one.
Oh,
And
okay,
honestly,
well, Jesus.
The original Blade Runner I would call an acquired taste.
It's something that you don't understand why it's a classic the first time you see it, but like a couple of more years of studying film history and cyberpunk, and you get it. It's not a visually wowing film.
Well,
It's
it
dirty,
was when it
it's
came
ugly.
out, and that's
Not these days.
not anymore. No.
Context is important for this.
Yeah, it was
But it
very
deserves it.
it was groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of where its reputation comes from. But it's just kind of a slow noir film now. which is fine. I mean, it's a good slow noir film.
A favorite of mine.
I do like Harrison
Yeah,
Ford.
so, Raiden.
Yeah, Raiden in Injustice.
That game we're all playing, right?
Yeah. That game I let the computer play so I can get stuff. And
I've
then I
been
never
playing a
get
lot
the
of,
stuff I want. I figured out I like most of Raiden's gear, but it seems like finding a pair of arms that are full sleeves is going to be the equivalent of trying to win the Batman chest with the yellow oval or the Flash chest with the white circle. It's never gonna fucking happen for me.
Is that
Oh,
really
you
the
know-
case? Is that the new Aquaman shirt? Is Raiden's arms? Did they really not put sleeves in the game?
There are sleeves in the game. They're just hard to get.
Okay.
Now here's what I really like is that he has gear for his MK2 costume, like the blue apron. He has an epic level gear set for that, so I've been trying to get that.
Oh, they made it epic.
Yeah, it's gold. But I mean, there's a lot of normals that look like MK9 Raiden. I just can't get fucking sleeves.
It's gold, Jerry. Gold.
Sleeves.
Yeah.
So, like, yellow oval Batman is that insanely hard to come by?
To me, he's on the same tier as the fucking dick stick. I can't
I was about to make that comparison.
I can't fucking get it.
That's
Yeah, I still don't have a dick stick to this day.
And I've
that's
been
it for
told-
me, man. I can't make a religion out of trying to get one character just the way I want him. Don't got that kind of time.
That's a big reason why I don't play the fucking game anymore. Is
It
because
burned me out.
I don't have 6 months to devote to like trying to perfect one goddamn costume. If they had just put normal costumes in the fucking game, maybe I'd play the game.
The struggle is real.
It's very real.
I do still enjoy playing the game, but I still don't do it. Like it's just there's other shit right now. It's like honeymoon phase is pretty much over at this point. It's
Like-
now another fighting game in my library.
It took me until just yesterday to finally get a pair of legs for Green Lantern that don't have armor on the thighs.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, I didn't know it existed either until I finally got one.
You know who looks good right now? Samus. Samus looks good right now. I'm playing Metroid. I moved on. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Well, at least
I
Samus
don't-
is
I-
supposed
I-
to be in armor.
I've officially dropped Injustice.
Oh, which Metroid?
Samus Returns. 3DS. A very, very fine second remake of Metroid 2 in the last year. I don't know if it's the better one, but it's fucking great.
Is that
Great-
counting the fan
great
one that
soundtrack.
got shut down?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely kind of the fan one. It doesn't matter that it got shut down.
Well, I mean, it's out
It got
there,
shut
so
down.
you can
It
get
got
it.
shut down after it was done.
Yeah, that's the
Unlike-
right way to do it. Don't tell anybody you're making the thing,
Unlike certain
then put it up for
fan
torrent,
bases.
and then they can't stop you.
Hey Kotaku, look at this thing we're doing. Want to report on it? Okay. Wait, what do you mean this is illegal? Oh.
But we have all these assets!
Perspective is a funny thing.
Dumb motherfuckers.
This day, that 3D Chrono Trigger still haunts me. Son of a bitch.
You know, after playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night, it's hard to go back to any Metroid game. Sometimes, like, it's other genres too. Like, fucking, even the original Castlevania 4 is really hard because it just, Castlevania is sort of my point of reference for every Metroid experience I've ever had now. Like,
Did you ever finish Super Metroid?
For me,
yes, I love Super Metroid,
okay.
but yeah.
The Prime games, because they have completely different, like, they're more first person. So that's sort of my touch point for Metroid, where it's like, now I don't think of Castlevania when I play this, it's its own thing.
I never had a GameCube, so I missed out on all the Prime games. And when it came out on Wii, I ran out of batteries, so I couldn't play that shit anymore. I hate the Wii. But anyway.
I got a lot of use out of my GameCube. I never regretted getting a GameCube. It's also easy to take places. It has a handle built in.
What a dumb name when you think about it. GameCube.
I don't know. I kind of like it. It kind of has like a.
GameCube.
It's descriptive.
Game
It's
box.
like
It's not very creative.
PlayStation, GameCube.
Game
They're
box.
both Vigiboxes. Is the meaning of the name? Like Xbox. That one. What the fuck is an X?
Yeah, Xbox sounds like
letter?
porn.
This is not a box that plays X's. I don't understand.
Yeah, Xbox sounds like something like a teenager hides under his mattress. Like Xbox doesn't sound good to me. GameCube. Whenever I hear the word cube, I can't help but to think of like sci-fi like craziness. Like cubes are very literarily charged, I guess, for me. I guess I have a very positive connotation for the word cube.
I like the word cube. I like that it is a cube. Like, it's not false advertising. It's a cube that plays games. It's very literal.
You know what
I'm a
name?
fan of-
You
I'm
know
a
what
fan of
name
the
probably
game sphere.
probably dug its own in the grave? The Ouya. Remember that piece of shit? Ooh yeah.
I don't know the Ouya. That sounds like an 80s band.
You're
There's a
not wrong,
short-lived
actually.
Indie, indie console.
It's gonna be the answer to all your problems. It can play anything. So it's an emulator box then. Oh yeah. Never mind.
Ouya. Huh.
Play station. It's the station where you play.
Makes sense. Dreamcast I always thought was a good name.
See, that's cool.
Saturn.
That's like at least like it's like calling your console the Scorpion or something like that. To me, it sounds cool, but the game
How about the
box,
Scorpio?
the GameCube.
I don't know. There's room, I think, for the very literal names and for the artsy names.
The Game Triangle.
Like it is a
Like,
shame
I
that
don't know,
they didn't follow through on calling it the Dolphin.
Game Wrong.
I rather liked the Scorpio as a name. For
I
the
did too.
Xbox.
I
If you're-
agree.
if-
I thought the Scorpion.
If you've named your system after a parody Bond villain or something that sounds like a Bond villain, you're probably doing it right.
Played Trapezoid.
I want to play
can dig-
the Microsoft Moon Laser.
The Nintendo Odd Job.
The Sony
I don't know.
Goldfinger.
The Microsoft Baron Samedi.
The first one that didn't sound like sex. I like it. But the Scorpio, I agree, was a tight name. It's a lot better than the fucking Xbox X or the Xbox. Fucking gosh, what is wrong with them?
I haven't been paying attention. What's it called now? The Onks Bonks?
I mean, that'd be better. But the Xbox
One of
X
the worst
is
is the Wii U.
yeah, that's pretty bad.
Like we
Every-
fucked up the first time, so let's fuck it up even more.
Every fucking time I think of that goddamn name, I flash back to Kung Pao Enter the Fist. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I feel like there was. I feel like there's something deliberately silly about the original Wii, and like how the commercials were just literally Japanese businessmen like ringing people's doorbells and going, "We would like to play."
Creepy. It's creepy when you make it.
It is
sound
creepy, but it's like funny. Like it's self-aware how creepy it is.
I mean, it's refreshing after like Konami, which basically just shit all over its fans. Like, if Konami had a commercial like that, that would kind of win me back a little. But the idea that Konami cares about anything gaming related is just such a fucking stake in the heart. I don't know, man. Clearly, you can all see how much we care about Raiden. This is telling.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've heard good things, but yeah.
You know what's more interesting than Raiden? This CD I'm ripping to my hard drive right now. I'll give you 3 guesses as to what it is. It involves fighting games.
Is it? Is it the Immortals album?
It is not. It is not. You're not gonna get this shit. It's terrible. Or it's related to terrible.
It's related to terrible.
It's kind of related to terrible.
It's terrible adjacent.
Is it a Shaq Fu Rom? I don't know if I have a guess anymore. That's pretty much all I have.
You're a step closer than Immortals.
Huh. Clay Fighter?
No, now you're very, very far away.
Eternal
Yeah, I like
Champions.
The dog might be closer.
Oh, she's close. Too close.
That's 2 guesses, I think. That's 2 guesses. We've had Clay Fighter and we've had the Immortals. Give you guys one more.
Primal Rage.
Eternal Champions.
Anything from the 3DO?
Man, not one of you motherfuckers guessed Street Fighter. I hold in my hand the completely forgotten hip-hop R&B soundtrack to the Jean-Claude Van Damme Street Fighter movie, with such artists as Ice Cube, Nas, The Far Side, LL Cool J, and Hammer, when he was called Hammer, because MC Hammer was too silly after that whole several period of years.
He
spent
was no
wearing
longer
hammer
the
pants.
master of ceremonies at that point.
I would not have guessed that. I've seen the Street Fighter movie. I don't remember any hip hop ever. So
I did not know that was a thing that existed.
Yeah, I used to have this thing as like as a really, really young kid. Specifically, I bought it because there was a really good song called "Worth Fighting For." It's by Angelique Kidjo. It's like the second to last track on this thing, and it plays when like Guile and his men are like on the tanks. They're going to Shadowloo Island towards the end of the film. I bought this thing specifically for that. Aside from that, the whole thing is just like East Coast rap. It's not bad. It grew on me after a while. I had it on tape, and then I just lost it somewhere along the line. And last week, I'm like, huh, I forgot about those songs. So off to Discogs for $5, I went. A little trip down nostalgia lane.
Yeah.
Anyway,
go on.
That's more interesting than Raiden, is all I'm saying.
I do want to play him. I have him on my Xbox version of the game. I just I don't know. Like I've actually heard really good things. Like the other guys, the King of the Hill crew, they all seem to like him a lot. I just there's a lot of cool characters in Justice that I don't really want to play, and Raiden's probably going to be in that box when everything's said and done. So Hellboy, unfortunately, is the same way. I don't really have any desire to play Hellboy. I don't really have. Oh, but shit, there's the Atom. We never even talked about the Atom.
Yeah, the Atom actually looks really cool from what I've seen. Like the little
some
bit
nice
they
effects.
revealed of his moves.
Yeah, if I played the game, I would love to play Atom. Like I would actually consider like buying Atom.
That's the thing. If I liked this game, I would have no complaints about any of the DLC so far, really. But I'm just not really into Injustice as a game.
Yeah, I still really like it, but everyone knows I'm on the Marvel train right now, so it's going to be not hard, but impossible to play Injustice 2 right now. I can barely play the games I want to play. I got a Super Nintendo Mini, or whatever it's called, and I haven't even had time to play that, really. So God, it's so hard to find time to play this shit. And also, like, I don't know, like, if I play Injustice, what am I going to do? I'm going to pick Blue Beetle, Green Lantern, or Starfire, and I'm going to play the same sets I've been playing since July. And that's a lot of fun. But one reason why I like Marvel so much is because when you finally hit someone and you start a combo, you can do really interesting high execution things. Maybe not that high execution, but there's a lot of creativity. I love Injustice 2, but that's by far my biggest problem with the game, is once you land a hit, it's fucking launcher into a back three, into a jump three, into a chain combo, into a special move. And that is every bread and butter in the game. And it's so boring, and it's so easy, and it's not interesting. And there's really no reason to do anything else, because that's where all your damage comes from. Anything more swagger than that's going to cost you damage, unless you're like Batman, but all his fucking like high execution combos are not that interesting to me. It's like, oh, you can land a second jump two in the combo. I don't care. I just don't care. So Marvel's been a lot of fun. And all my thoughts on Marvel and the Warrior Shrine, really, I get why people don't like the game. I will not tell anyone to buy it, but I'm really having a good time. It's the most fun I've had in a long time in a fighting game.
Yeah, I keep hearing that Marvel is like a lot of fun gameplay-wise. It's just, I look at the roster and nothing catches my eye.
Well, you skipped out on Mega Man X, which is unfortunate. I think if you had that... Yeah.
There are reports coming in that all the DLC was again ready months before the game came out, and it's just basically locked off like usual. You motherfuckers learned nothing over the past couple of years,
I don't know if that's true, though. I heard that too, but it's not on the disc. If they did do that, it's not on the disc this time.
Well, they probably just... Like, I think companies are starting to get wise to data mining, so they're like, if they do have something done that could have been on the disc, they'll take it off anyway, just so people don't, quote-unquote, catch them in the act. But they definitely made Monster Hunter and Black Panther before the game was out. Like, those characters were done.
But those were CGI models, though. I don't know if that constitutes a full fighting game character with balancing and testing and debugging and if we're going into the theory that, they just took it off the disc so we wouldn't find out, I mean, yeah, I can't disprove that, but who's to say NetherRealm isn't doing that too?
I don't know. I'm not just referring to the fact that they appear in story mode cutscenes. I believe the reports I've read about what was done before the game was released. And I also think, like, I mean, I absolutely believe everything that says that the budget for this game is less than the DLC budget for Street Fighter V.
Did you see some of those sales figures from Japan the first week the game was out? This thing's fucking dead. The Switch version of Street Fighter 2 outsold it by twice as much. That is a bad sign.
Yeah,
Cyclops once said dreams don't die, but there are no more X-Men this time around.
I would like to point out that the Dream is also dead in the Marvel Universe right now. I read the comics. Mutants are never going to fucking... Cyclops himself is dead. That's fucking dead.
Has he been replaced by past Cyclops at this point or whatever the shit?
I mean, technically, but who cares? It's not the same.
I don't know. How hard is it to remake him into a milquetoast, boring leadership asshole anyways? I'm sorry. Fuck Cyclops.
Past Cyclops is a teenager, and being a teenager is always going to dominate his characterization. You can't replace a 30-year-old man with the 15-year-old version of him.
To be fair, I don't think there's much of a difference, because what does it being a teenager mean apart from being angsty, brooding, and me, why does no one listen to me? I know best, me. And if that's not the crux of Cyclops' fucking character, I don't know what the hell is.
Well, the crux of Cyclops' character, like, the difference between the two versions is teen Cyclops is angsty because Jean won't go out with him, and adult Cyclops is angsty because Jean is dead.
It's not that much of a stretch.
That is kind of funny. I don't know. I always liked Cyclops because most of my X-Men experience younger was from the cartoon. I liked the Wolverine Cyclops foil, so that was always my Cyclops experience. So I always thought it was cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way, but like, it's just okay. So like, the whole thing about mutants is the belief that eventually they will outnumber humanity, that they are the next stage in evolution. And so, like, the fact that people are racist against them, it's just a matter of time before they're not the minority anymore, so that eventually they will automatically win that culture war. But in the past, like, 5 years of Marvel continuity, they're pretty much like, nope, mutants are going extinct. So it's like, the Dream literally is dead. There's nothing left for them to fight for. They're all in Magneto's position now. There are no more good guys and bad guys, there's just survival. And it's like, I don't really want to read that version of the concept.
Well, the allegory definitely falls apart once you start doing that.
Yeah, they're no longer anything like a real-world minority. Because it's not like black people or gay people are going extinct.
And if they were, I'm sure not all the gays would be like Magneto too. So it still doesn't quite work 100%. So
yeah, but so like in the 80s, it was like Magneto would go, "Why don't we all just move to an asteroid? Get the fuck out of here." And Cyclops is like, "That won't solve the problem." Cut to 2015, that would totally solve the problem.
I just can't imagine. There's a reason those Magneto was right t-shirts were selling so well. Motherfucker, I need to make an order.
It's just like, how much harder can you miss the point of an entire franchise?
Well, I can't miss something I never had. I never read the X-Men comics, and I didn't hear great things, so I kind of stayed away from that, so...
Well, if you ever do want to get into the X-Men comics, I mean, obviously the era that the cartoon pulled from, probably the best. I would also recommend the Grant Morrison run from the early 2000s, and the Joss Whedon run that was shortly after that.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything after Whedon was bad. That's where that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, we'll see. I was, during Injustice 2's marketing, I was reading comics like none other. And then it was just, like all my interests after a certain point are a sharp drop-off, and I just move on to something else. So I'm in the something else phase right now. I'll full circle eventually. Probably once we get more MK11 stuff and all the God, there's so many fucking fighting games. Dragon Ball's on the horizon too. Once these fighting games right now gain a little bit of age and I start looking into other stuff, that's probably going to be a stronger possibility. But I don't even think I'd go to X-Men. I'm probably going to go back to Green Lantern and Doctor Strange more than likely.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say I blame you. I mean, it is always more encouraging to get into something that's good in the present than something that was good in the past. Because you feel like there's like this subconscious drive of there's a point to what I'm doing, because when I catch up, I can keep reading. But if you're only going to get into something that like is currently dead but was good once, it's like, yeah, I have an academic interest in this, but it's not going anywhere.
Well, the academic interest lets you partake in the conversation, which I think is a big deal with, I hate the term nerd culture,
Yeah.
but it's essentially what nerd culture is. It's a bunch of people who know enough about the same thing to talk about it. So that's how the circle is formed. So to be part of that conversation is in many ways half the fun, especially if something goes bad, then the conversation becomes way more interesting.
Yeah.
For a while. I mean,
It is more fun to complain than to talk about something positive.
Oh yeah, no, that's I mean,
That's not true for me.
Yeah, but you're weird.
we all like Blade Runner. Well, Shadow hasn't seen it yet, and I think I heard you said you saw it, right, Razor?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the Red Letter Media review. That's what I was saying.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm definitely going to see the movie soon here, probably this weekend.
We all like the first Blade Runner, myself included. So yeah.
Yeah.
Blade Runner's good.
It's all right.
Especially the final cut, which is basically the I don't care what anyone says, I'm Ridley Scott version.
I said unquestionable, and I realized the microphone was muted, so you wouldn't hear me coughing. I've seen that movie 3 times, at least 3 different cuts, and it's always amazing. It's wonderful. Ugh, I feel like a dad.
Well, what else you got? Happy Friday the 13th.
What are y'all doing on your Friday the 13th?
I want to play Friday the 13th.
Well, I can do that.
I mean, I'd play it with you, but I got plans to...
Blade Runner tomorrow night. That's my Friday the 13th evening. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are releasing a cover of John Carpenter's Halloween theme tomorrow.
Ooh.
I will presumably be, before I go out to the movie, I'll be listening to this, Billy Corgan's very excellent new solo album, Staying Home and Masturbating While I Do So. It's
Is that real?
The Billy Corgan solo album or the masturbating?
Masturbating.
What do you...
It's interesting if I tell you or if you think about it.
Oh, I thought that was the name of the album. I was like, holy shit.
No, that's the
Billy
name of his
Corgan
evening.
Well, you know what? For his subject material, the man could put out an album called Staying at Home and Masturbating, and it probably would accurately cover a lot of the content.
I thought.
And I'm a Pumpkins fan. I'm a huge Pumpkins fan.
What do you guys think of the Halloween reboot or picking up after
Wait.
this first one?
I didn't know that.
No, see, it's not a reboot. It's a
No, I know,
sequel
it's not a
to 2.
reboot. It starts after the first one, and it's with Jamie Lee Curtis, and John Carpenter is going to executive produce and potentially do the score.
Oh, that's
Wait,
wonderful.
so-
They're going to pretend like none of the sequels happened, so it's kind
That's
of
okay.
like an
That's
alternate
wonderful.
universe thing.
That's great. Onto the shit pile it goes. I'm sorry, it's done. The movie, the franchise has been defecated over for 15 goddamn years. The last good one was H2O. It's too late. Stop fucking the horse's corpse. Put it on the bonfire with Alien and Jurassic Park and Terminator and everything else whose corpse we've repeatedly sexually violated over the past 2 decades, and let it burn.
I mean, you say
Just
you
let
say
it burn.
that, but if they got Ridley away from the Alien franchise, like maybe, like, remember when Neil Blomkamp was going to do one?
I would. Do you know what's better? Do you know what's better than the last 2 Alien/Prometheus movies? The Blomkamp movies that don't exist. If he had made them and they existed, they would still be better. this was always a bad idea.
This is what I'm saying. But I'm like, if it went back to that, like if we got past Ridley having a death grip on it, I would go see those. I don't think the Alien franchise is necessarily dead.
Well, that's the thing about dead horses. I mean, most dead horses, you're right, are just that. They're dead horses. But I still believe there's that glittering hope that every once in a while, like, a dead horse will rise with, like, cyber enhancements holding the American flag. I still think sometimes you can do that under the right circumstances.
It depends.
Well, the big candidate to me is Terminator. I still think there's something that... Yeah, go on, yeah?
Yeah, because, like, nobody is more hurt by the state of the Terminator franchise than I am. But James Cameron producing and then bringing Linda Hamilton back, I mean, I'm expecting to see like a shambling corpse walking around, but I'll watch that.
Yeah, I mean, they can do it. Like, I definitely think on principle it is definitely possible. There's no reason you can't make a good Terminator movie. It's just there's a lot of ugly unwashed hands in that pile. Yeah. So we got.
You know what you've got to do? You've got to stop using Arnold Schwarzenegger imagery. The notion of a killer robot from the future does not specifically have to be tied to Der Governator. It's easy. It's very easy, and yes, he's where 95% of the appeal comes from. But I feel that if we have to keep fucking this horse, just go all the way and give it a bit of a fresh spritz up. Put some makeup on the horse's face.
I mean,
do something new.
There's a tricky thing about the Terminator franchise, I think, where logically there is no reason that every T-800 has to look like Arnold, or, you know. But, like, the Sarah Connor Chronicle something was missing. It tried, it really did, but it wasn't real Terminator to me. And I don't know I don't know that the lack of Arnold, the fact that there were Terminators who didn't look like him, I don't think that was the problem. I think there's something about the atmosphere of a Terminator film, where if you got enough of the people together, like if you had Linda Hamilton, and all the Terminators were just endoskeletons, nobody was like a disguised human, that could work. But I think if you put, like, Sarah Connor and John Connor, and then have a bunch of Terminators that aren't Arnold, it's just gonna feel... It's gonna feel like you're trying too hard to recapture it with an ingredient missing.
If you've got to have that ingredient, I would propose that, honestly, you just get a hold of fucking Robert Patrick and get a humanized T-1000 or more vulnerable version of a T-1000. Doesn't necessarily have to be liquid metal. Call it the T-9500 or some shit. Because Robert Patrick can carry a series. He really can.
He also makes a hell of a poster on Temp's wall.
Yeah. Yep, I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still would feel like... I would feel like you're making a movie where there's an Arnold-shaped hole and everyone is tiptoeing around the hole. Like, I honestly feel like the only solution to not having Arnold... Like, I'm not saying a Terminator movie has to have Arnold or it won't work. I'm saying that the Terminators have to not have skin. That's the only way I would feel comfortable with it.
Hey, I mean, I would take that compromise if I had Robert Patrick.
I mean, I would love a Robert Patrick helmed Terminator movie, like... But it would just feel like... It would feel somehow self-aware, like, we put Robert Patrick in because Arnold's too old. It would feel like it was... It'd be too meta somehow.
I don't know. Robert Patrick looks old as fuck right now, dude. He doesn't look that good.
I mean,
yeah.
I guess that my closest comparison to this would be Alien Isolation. Did it really feel like it was tiptoeing around Ripley? And if it did, anyone would seem to really mind? Because that's like probably unquestionably the one Alien franchise product in the last... God, there has not been a good Alien film since I was a child. And even then, that's a stretch. Oh God, over half my life.
I think...
What have I been waiting for all these years?
I think the Alien franchise is in a slightly different place, where they have conditioned people to be okay with a lack of Sigourney Weaver.
Maybe.
Well,
I think it's possible to do it with Terminator.
Because, well, what I might suggest to get around, like, okay, so there was a series of novels after Terminator 2 that was about Sarah meeting this Austrian mercenary who is the guy the T-800 design was based on. So if you, like, adapted those novels, then you could have Arnold in the movie, but he wouldn't be playing the Terminator.
That would fix the age issue as well. That would make things a lot easier from a screenwriting perspective.
Yeah. Although Genesis was right about the fact that Terminators do age.
I wouldn't know. I didn't watch Genesis.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bad movie, but I'm just saying from a technical perspective, that is a correct hand wave for the fact that Arnold is old. If you had a Terminator who had been around long enough, like the flesh on their bodies is living tissue, it ages.
I was fine with, well, I mean, I gotta correct myself. I've never seen Genesis, and I don't think I ever will, but I was fine with that. I'm fine with old Arnold for the most part. I don't think that's what hurts any of those movies.
No,
really.
I don't think the presence of Arnold is the problem. I think it's how the directors choose to use Arnold, because what made Terminator 1 and 2 so classic, like, that makes them completely different from all the other Terminator movies, that, you know, they're like iconic cinema and all the other Terminator movies are schlock, is because in those movies, Arnold played a serious character. And in all the other movies, Arnold's just kind of being himself.
Well, I think also the other Terminators don't have a real dramatic core. That's why I like Terminator 2. It has nothing to do with the sci-fi elements. I just like the drama of, you know, the Terminator trying to protect this kid.
Yeah, that's
from
true.
not just like the world from the Terminator, but also in a way from his crazy mother. Sarah Connor is kind of a great character. I think people kind of put her in the good guy territory just by default. But Sarah Connor is kind of fucked up if you really analyze the character.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
absolutely.
she's definitely, like, she's got psychological problems and she's not a very good mother. That's definitely, like, and that is what was so great about, like, Terminator 2, is, like, there's character arcs and there's a lot of, like, development they have to go through because they're fucking flawed. And, like, I would say of the sequels, the only one that comes close to having that kind of emotion in it is 3, and even then, not till the very end. Because Terminator 3 is like 9/10 a goofy fucking comedy action movie, and then at the very end, it gets fucking serious, and it's like this weird tone shift.
Yeah, I feel like the ending of Terminator 3, though, is no one wanted that, I don't think. And I feel like they took the easy way out in many ways.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that ending is the only thing
That's,
anybody remembers about Terminator 3, though, is that, like, the entire
Remember that-
movie was banking on the twist.
Remember that optimistic future outcome we promised you last time? What were you fucking thinking, assholes? Ugh.
To be fair, I mean, the Terminator franchise, and this is probably the biggest argument I have against making a sequel, the Terminator franchise flip-flops all the time. Like, every movie has a different opinion about whether or not fate is real. Because in the first movie, the plot is totally a paradox. Like, John Connor wouldn't have been born if Kyle Reese wasn't sent back in time. Like, it was all meant to happen. And then the second movie is like, there is no fate but what we make. We can totally change the future.
Excuses and excuses to spout philosophical, quasi-philosophical bullshit. I've stopped
Well,
here.
I don't know.
Rode the horse.
If the trailer looks good, I'll buy a ticket. Even, like, if the reviews are decent, I may still buy a ticket. That was the biggest problem with Genesis, is I saw that trailer and it just looked like shit.
It looked like shit because it was.
That's the problem with Prometheus and Alien. Well, the Prometheus trailer was okay, but the Covenant trailer was fucking awful, in my opinion.
I mean, Genesis is the perfect example of what I was saying about how, like, the first two movies are so far above the rest because they have, like, real emotion and the characters have arcs. And Genesis is, like, the perfect example of how people see the Terminator movies now as just dumb action schlock. Because, like, you've got a Kyle Reese who himself looks like Arnold. Like, Michael Bihn's Kyle Reese was like this scrawny, starving dog of a man who had PTSD and was seriously fucked up. And they just replaced him with a big meathead who acts like a generic action hero.
Who looks like he drinks protein shakes like twice a day. Yeah,
Yeah.
It doesn't work at all.
Like,
It's
he
just,
looks
oh
like...
my god.
Jai Courtney looks like the kind of guy who uses the word bra in the middle of conversations all the time.
I don't know, man. I guess Terminator.
Like, do you even lift bra?
Oh god, fucking Ishii showed me something of a buffed out Pennywise. And it said, bro, do you even float? I was like, fucking that's tight.
Oh
That
my
was good shit.
Christ, Jesus.
I'm a fan, but yeah, props to Ishii. I think it was Ishii. I would feel really bad if it wasn't Ishii, but if it was Ishii, props to Ishii.
29 Nebolt Street, represent. I'll take it to the streets of Derry.
Straight out of Derry, I like it. But yeah, just so those are our thoughts on Raiden. Does anyone have anything else they want
Those
to
are
say?
thoughts on Raiden? Those are thoughts on Terminator for half a fucking hour. Where do we
Terminator, Raiden, potato, tomato, Caribbean.
Hey, so Ed Boon is promising hot new character or something. I don't care.
He said the biggest character we've ever done, and the article interpreted that as Spawn because the internet is stupid.
Every fucking time something like this happens, my mind instantly flashes back to, like, the day I found the fixed version of MK Gold for the Dreamcast at a Walmart, and you knew it was, like, version 2.0, because it had this neon green sticker on it that said, hot new. It was the saddest fucking sight I've ever seen. At least in terms of, like, finding MK games at stores. But yeah, that's where my mind goes. Please be excited.
Yeah. So
are we? Yeah.
I mean, so I joked on the Facebook that there's two ways to read the comment, the biggest character we've ever done. And one of them is that he literally means a large character, like Giganta or Atom Smasher. The other
Yeah,
way
why
to
couldn't
read
it be Adam? That's true.
The other way to read it, obviously, if he means biggest as, like, a guest character who is very popular. I was joking because the article automatically assumed that means fucking Spawn, who hasn't been relevant in the 90s. I was like, okay, well, if it's on the same tier as Spawn, then maybe it's Witchblade? Fucking Savage Dragon? The Danger Girls? Something from the 90s that nobody has seen in 15 years.
I'd buy Witchblade. It's right next to my Robert Patrick poster. Yeah, fucking...
It's one of the fucking Wildcats. It's
You had
somebody
guessed
from Youngblood.
You had guessed possibly The Mask, and I would actually buy The Mask.
Oh yeah, I did guess. I guessed The Mask with Jim Carrey as the voice actor, because that's the only way it would actually be big.
Dude, I would buy The Mask. Like,
the comic version of The Mask is very, like, violent and
yeah, I saw the Nostalgia Critic review on the comparison. I was like, it's kind of like the Ren and Stimpy style of violence, or only way more gory. Like, it's very, like, early, like, MTV Eon Flux kind of violence. So, but I mean,
There's,
like, the movie version, I'd buy the shit out of that.
I'd buy either one. In the comics, he actually creeped the Joker out, if I'm remembering my crossovers right.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. And that is probably, like, the biggest reason to have The Mask, is just to see him interact with the Joker or something like that.
Oh, man, but... Well, I don't want to get into the whole voice thing and the whole intro dialogue with Injustice again. Speaking of dead horses, that's one thing that kind of hurts the DLCs. if you don't like the character, there's not much else to look forward to.
I mean, how many indie deals can they possibly cut? Is it going to be Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead?
I think that actually would sell. I think there's a dollar or two there in that pot.
I mean, there definitely is. I just don't think they could get the rights.
Do not want. Show has not been good for several seasons now. Comic was arguably never all that good. Arguably.
I mean, I don't think there's anything of value to The Walking Dead, either comic or TV version, except Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That's pretty much all they have.
Yeah, I never watched it, but my roommates always liked it. My friends still watch it religiously, and it's still. I don't know. I liked watching it with my friends. I never really knew what was going on because I was always like 4 or 5 or 6 seasons in whenever they were watching an episode. But that's cool. Like they like it. I like seeing.
Hey, so how many black guys have they killed to replace them with other black guys that they kill now? What are they up to, 7? Fuck you, AMC. Fuck you.
I didn't know that was a thing, but now that I know.
Oh, it's a thing. Go look this up. It's
Fair,
happened
kill the
several.
white guys and the Asian guys too.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
that's-
there's a higher death rate. Look this up. It's a thing.
I'm sure
If
there
you're
is.
If you're a young black guy or a wise old man on The Walking Dead, you are fucked, son.
Well,
It
This
doesn't
is why we
matter.
need the X-Men.
I would like to see like a chart of like all the characters who started in season 1 and which ones are and aren't dead. Because isn't it pretty much just Rick and his son at this point?
No, it's Rick, his
Glenn's
son,
still
Carol, Daryl.
All right, Daryl, you can't
Yeah,
kill off
this whole
Daryl.
So there's 4. 4 is still alive.
is Michonne still alive? Or did she die?
Carol's still alive.
What about Michonne?
Is that who you asked? Did you say Carol?
He said Michonne. Stop saying Carol.
Michonne, yeah. I can't hear. Michonne is still alive, but she didn't start till season 2.
Yeah, that's right. She was a bit later.
Season 2 or 3.
Fair enough.
I do have a question. What did everyone think of the Justice League trailer?
I think it doesn't
it looked
look very
like the
good.
other
and that's
Justice
coming
League
from somebody
trailer.
that actually
I feel-
like Batman vs Superman.
I feel that I am now more prepared for this film because on my birthday last week, I decided to take it easy. This may be why I'm ill right now. And I willingly exposed myself to the 3-hour director's cut of Batman vs. Superman. I did this because the Blu-ray was given to me for free. And I always said that I would never watch the movie unless I had to pay absolutely no money to do so. Well, fate chose to wipe its ass with me once again. So I had to live up to my promise, and I did. And why was that 3 movies, none of which made any sense? Why was any of that a thing? Why was a glass of urine? Why?
I
Why?
spent an hour and a half describing everything wrong with that movie to you.
I know.
There's audio evidence
But
of
I-
this.
But here's the thing. I hoped you were lying.
Well, now you know better, don't you?
That is a great strategy, though. Just like shit talk a movie for an hour and a half and just lie about everything. Like
My reaction to that entire episode after we went off the air was, I don't believe you. That was it. That's all there was to it.
you know, I'm
Well, now
actually
that
kinda
episode of The
warmed
Lost
up
stands as a testament to my rightness.
That's good to
Not
hear.
gonna-
I'm glad
not
you
gonna
warmed up
forget
to
that
it.
point.
You know, I mean, a lot of that to do with Wonder Woman. I thought Wonder Woman was fantastic.
No,
I
Wonder Woman's a
love
great
that
movie.
Wonder Woman is wonderful. That was fucking terrible. That
See what you did
Wonder
there.
Woman was very, very good. It was a spectacular film.
Well,
It was
well here's my
uncanny
case.
awesome.
Like, with Batman v Superman, my biggest problem with the movie is that no one talked. There was not a lot of dialogue. You just really ultimately don't know who any of these people are.
Well, yeah.
I know who Wonder Woman is now, so when she's on screen, I care more. Like, and I was always okay with Batfleck. I thought his performance, he's the best part of that movie, honestly.
He is the only good part, I want to say. I think that Henry Cavill could be good in another director's hands, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I have seen Cavill be very charismatic in other films. It's just that Snyder fucking won't let him talk. Like, he creates a movie where the entire premise is the public doesn't trust Superman, and he never has Superman go in front of a camera with a microphone and say, hey guys, here's what I'm all about. Even when Superman turns up to testify at Congress, he doesn't get a word out because Congress explodes.
That would have been
It's
such
like
a
how-
good scene too. Oh,
it's
I would
like
have
how-
loved that.
It's like how the whole world was convinced that everyone who moderately was involved with the Star Wars prequels had shit acting capability after they were done, because that's how bad they were. But no, that's just how bad of a director George was.
I think another thing that kind of warmed up Batman v Superman for me was X-Men Apocalypse, which is probably the second worst comic book movie I've ever seen. God, I hate that movie.
It's sloppy, but I wouldn't take. I would not
Apocalypse,
take that much.
It's not a good movie, but I don't think it's like the worst. I just think it feels like it's from before they started taking these movies seriously. Like it feels like a movie from the Affleck Daredevil era.
Yeah. Its biggest problem, I think, is the fact that it's another movie about Charles and Magneto that doesn't need to be about Charles and Magneto at fucking all. They just kind of stuck them in there for recognizability, as they do with those two and Wolverine for almost every movie, but they just couldn't let it go this time.
All right, audience, spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, earmuffs, okay? Archangel died in a plane crash. That is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. Psylocke is my favorite X-Men, and she had shit to do and no reason to do it. Dark Phoenix is there for reasons. The only scene in the movie that had any reaction from me was when the Magneto did the two raptors to form the X. Okay, that was sick. The rest of that movie can suck every inch of my problems with that film. I hate that movie so bad. So much hate. Okay, and spoilers. I'll put something in the comments for you guys so you know. But yeah.
Every inch of your problems.
Every inch. All the girth of my problems.
Tab's got 99 problems, ladies. But X-Men Apocalypse ain't one.
It's the opposite. I have 99 problems with X-Men Apocalypse. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That kind of got mangled a little bit. I'm on a little bit of cold medicine. I'm sorry, folks.
Oh, it's all good. Well, the only thing I have to say that's NetherRealm related is kind of ties back to Marvel. Is Sonic Fox is playing Marvel vs. Capcom, and he is wrecking shit. He has slain like most of the Marvel gods, and he didn't even get an early copy of the game. Filipino Champ taken down. Clockwork taken down. He fucked up Punk, who is the new Capcom Messiah right now. Like, this is not even just like invading like another scene. This is like fucking moving into their house and eating all their food. It is beautiful what's going on with Sonic Fox right now. So everyone said we were all jobbers, and the only reason anyone was good in NetherRealm games is because Capcom players didn't play them. So we're now seeing all of that fall apart. So I love it.
At this point, like, I don't know a lot about Sonic Fox as a person. I haven't, like, listened to him speak at length. But I'm pretty sure he has a weaponized form of Assburgers that makes him better at video games than normal people are.
He's definitely a troll. He is, in interviews, he is, I could tell he's kind of like Filipino Champ. He's probably a nice guy in real life, but oh man, he's such a fucking troll. You had to get past all of that with all the teabagging and all the shit talking. But yeah, I think it's interesting, and I hope other people follow suit, because I think the NetherRealm community could really use some fighting game diversity. But we'll see what happens. We're going to find out come this Evo just how good Sonic Fox is. So I'm really excited for that. And yeah, that covers pretty. I mean, I guess we can say more, but well, no, that's everything, honestly.
I'm just gonna wrap it up there.
I'm not objecting to that. I need to go to bed.
All right, so we'll wrap it up here. If you like the 10-character wish list that we've been putting out, we'll have more of those in the upcoming weeks. So maybe next week and the weeks on. Obviously, we're not in any rush because the game's not even close to being announced. So we'll get those out because you guys have been digging that. And thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Later.
Ciao.
Peace.